They said I was too old to matter, so I became a fashion icon at 70. Before we get into the story, tell us in the comments section where you are watching from. And don't forget to leave your honest review. They say the world moves too fast for people like me. That once your hair turns gray, your voice becomes background noise. That you're meant to shrink into the wallpaper and watch quietly while life keeps happening to everyone else. But today, I decided I would not disappear quietly. Now I know what you're thinking. What could a 70-year-old woman possibly have to say that's relevant anymore? Well, pull up a chair, darling. Because this story, it's not about fading away, it's about setting the whole room on fire. It was Sunday, family day. The day I'd roast a whole chicken, bake my famous cornbread, and set the table with mismatched china because I like a little charm with my chaos. I wore my favorite outfit, high-waisted teal trousers from 1964, a floral blouse with puffed sleeves, and a brooch shaped like a sunflower. Pearls, of course. And my lipstick, red enough to make Marilyn Monroe look twice. I looked in the mirror and thought, Gloria Mayfield, you still got it. But the moment they walked in, I was reminded that the world doesn't always agree. My grandson Marcus burst through the door first, phone in one hand, hoodie half-zipped. Yo, Grandma, is this dinner or a costume party? Then came Tasha, 17, all crop top, long lashes, and judgment. She laughed. Grandma, are you auditioning for Golden Girls The Comeback or what? I smiled, politely. Tasha took out her phone and whispered to Marcus, then a flash, a snap, giggles. I pretended not to notice, but I noticed. They posted me to their stories. I saw the caption later. It read, "My grandma thinks she's a fashion blogger, vintage disaster." They laughed and scrolled. I stood there, ladling soup into bowls with trembling hands. My daughter Camille sat across from me, too busy replying to work emails to catch the moment. She muttered, "Mom, maybe tone it down next time? You know how the kids are. Let them have the spotlight." Tone it down? I didn't raise 3 children by toning it down. I survived heartbreak, layoffs, lost friends, a husband who never understood me, and I did it all in heels. But there I was. Red lipstick, silent, staring at my reflection in a spoon. That night, after they left, the house felt like a museum, quiet, dusty, forgotten. I pulled out an old photo from the drawer. There I was at 23, a size 6, shoulder pads sharp enough to cut glass, posing in front of a sewing machine I'd saved 6 months to buy. I had dreams once, big ones. I wanted to be a fashion designer, start my own line, see my name stitched inside collars. But life had other plans. And somewhere along the line, I started shrinking. I became mom, then grandma, and eventually just a shadow in the background of their lives. But that night, something sparked. It started with a phone call. Marjorie, my best friend since 67. The kind of woman who tells the truth even when it's got thorns. Girl, I saw that video they posted of you. Rude little snots. I sighed. They're just kids. No, Gloria, she said, they're blind. You look fabulous, you always have. They just don't see it yet. She paused, then said something I wasn't expecting. You ever think about showing the world who you are? Not just them, everyone. I laughed. At my age? She shot back, at your age, you've got nothing to lose and style for days. Honey, Instagram's full of people pretending. You're the real deal. That idea, it lingered. Later that night, I sat on my couch, still wearing my pearls, and opened an app I barely knew how to use. Instagram. I created a new account, picked a username, @GoldenGlamma. I uploaded a photo, the one Tasha snapped without asking. I cropped out the background, boosted the colors, and added a caption. Who says grandma can't slay Sunday dinner? Then, I hit post. I waited for the world to laugh again. But what happened next? Well, let's just say that was the beginning of something unexpected. You see, I didn't plan on becoming an icon. I just wanted to feel visible again. But in a world full of filters and trends, sometimes the boldest thing you can do is show up exactly as you are. And darling, the world wasn't ready for what was coming next. It's a strange feeling, going viral in your 70s. One day you're being mocked at your own dinner table, and the next you're being called a style queen by strangers on the internet. Funny how the world works. One photo, one post. That's all it took to wake something up in me that I thought I had buried long ago. Confidence, pride, fire. They say Instagram is a young person's game. But let me tell you something, style has no expiration date. At first I thought no one would see it. That one post. But within 2 days I had over 1,000 followers, then 3,000. Comments flooded in like an open window in spring. Yas, queen. Goals at 70. Teach me your ways, Glamma. Glamma. I liked the sound of that. Marjorie came over the next morning with donuts and a wild grin. I told you, she squealed, waving her phone. You're blowing up. You've got a fan base now. I laughed so hard I nearly dropped my tea. I hadn't laughed like that in years. We spent the entire day playing dress up like two teenagers with nothing to prove. We raided my attic, dusted off old scarves, furs, and wide-brimmed hats from the 80s. I posted a video of us dancing in my living room to a Diana Ross record. Captioned it, "Too old for TikTok? Watch me twirl, baby." That one hit 50,000 views overnight. Suddenly, I had DMs from stylists, vintage boutiques tagging me. A woman from Italy messaged me, "You make me feel like growing older isn't scary." I cried when I read that. Not because I was sad, but because someone finally saw me. Meanwhile, back at my daughter's house, Marcus and Tasha were struggling. Marcus had posted a comedy sketch that tanked. Just 11 likes. He tossed his phone aside and groaned, "I don't get it. I've been at this for months." Tasha replied with her usual snark, "Maybe you should start wearing pearls and posting soup pics like grandma." He blinked. "Wait, are people still talking about that?" She pulled up my account, showed him. I went from 3,000 to 25,000 followers in under a week. Their jaws dropped. They scrolled. They saw the comments. They saw the brand partnership with a vintage eyewear company. They saw the video of me speaking on ageism and beauty with 300,000 views. And just like that, the mockery turned into envy. I didn't do it to prove a point. At least not at first. I did it because something inside me was tired of hiding. Every outfit I put on became armor. Every post became a declaration. I am still here, and I still matter. I wasn't just taking photos, I was reclaiming space. And let me tell you, when you've spent most of your life waiting for permission, finally giving it to yourself feels like the biggest rebellion of all. One day, I got an unexpected message, a blue checkmark. It was Zara May, a Gen Z stylist with millions of followers. She wrote, "I need you in my next style collab. Your vibe is IT, DM me." I almost dropped my phone into my cereal. Marjorie screamed so loud the neighbor's cat ran off. We met for coffee the next week. Zara was young, sharp, and dressed like a fashion-forward alien princess, in the best way possible. She told me I reminded her of her grandmother. But cooler, she laughed. We shot a Reels video together. Matching outfits, 2 generations, 1 runway. The comments exploded. One said, "This healed something in me I didn't know was broken." Another said, "Why is this the most wholesome and powerful thing I've seen all year?" That video got us both featured on a viral trends page. I was now being called the realest style icon on Instagram. Camille looked up and said, "Mom, people are really loving you out there." I raised an eyebrow. Even without toning it down, she blushed. Okay, maybe I was wrong. It was the first time in years she looked at me not as her aging mother, but as a woman with a life still burning bright. Then she asked softly, "Are you happy?" And for once, I didn't hesitate. "Yes, I really am." Meanwhile, Marcus and Tasha were plotting. They started tagging me in their posts, quoting my captions, trying to ride the wave. They still didn't get it, not really. They thought it was about trends, about followers. But this wasn't about going viral. It was about being visible. At Sunday dinner, I made an entrance. Marcus nearly dropped his fork. Tasha choked on her drink. Camille just smiled and said, "Okay, Glamma." Marcus leaned over, sheepishly. "So, how do you come up with your captions?" Tasha chimed in, trying to sound casual. "And what time do you usually post?" I smirked, sipped my lemonade. "Oh, now you want my secrets?" I wasn't angry. I was amused. Because once they laughed at me. Now, they wanted to be me. You see, something had shifted. I wasn't just a grandmother anymore. I was a movement. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. Because the moment you start being seen, the world starts to listen. And trust me, they weren't ready for what was coming next. There's a funny thing about becoming an overnight sensation at 70. You stop walking into rooms quietly. Suddenly, people lean in when you speak. They nod when you post. They stare a little longer when you walk by. And not because you remind them of their auntie from the countryside. No, now they see power. Now they see influence. I had gone from irrelevant grandma to a full-on fashion disruptor. And honey, I was just getting started. It was wild, really. One minute I was sewing up old hems on my floral housecoats. Next, I had stylists begging for collabs and offers pouring into my inbox. One morning, I woke up to a message from the Vogue Village, an online fashion mag for indie creatives. They called me the breakout style elder of the season. The article read, "In a world obsessed with youth, Gloria turned the mirror around and made age the new aesthetic." I laughed out loud when I read it. Me? An aesthetic? The same woman who once had to beg her grandkids to help her figure out how to double tap a picture? But the buzz wasn't just digital anymore. Local news caught on, then morning TV, then came the invite to the Metropolitan Vintage Gala in LA. Now that was the moment everything changed. It read, "We cordially invite at Golden Glamour to the gala as a featured guest of honor for redefining fashion beyond age." I nearly fainted into my embroidery cushion. Me. A guest of honor, Marjorie cried. Camille actually screamed. Even Tasha gasped and said, "Wait, like the gala?" Marcus, well, he tried to play it cool. "Maybe I can be your social media assistant," he mumbled while pretending to check emails. But I wasn't fooled. They wanted in. They all wanted in. Because now that the world loved me, suddenly I was useful again. He slid into the seat across from me like a nervous intern. "Hey, Grandma," he said. I've been thinking about doing a fashion-themed sketch. You know, kind of like your vibe. We could collab, maybe?" I raised an eyebrow. "Collab? Yeah, cross-post. It could be good exposure for both of us." Oh, Marcus, the same boy who once called my pants geriatric pajamas now wanted to match outfits on camera? But I smiled. I wasn't mad, just amused. "All right," I said, "but we do it my way, my rules." He nodded so fast I thought his neck might snap. And so the next day we filmed our first ever Glamour and Grandson style challenge. He wore a velvet vest and a hat too big for his head. I rocked a rhinestone cape and platform heels that made my bunions cry. It was ridiculous. It was glorious. It hit 2 million views in 3 days. The comment section was full of crying laugh emojis and heartwarming messages like, "I wish I had this with my grandma." This healed generations. But of course, not everyone was laughing. It was late. I had stayed over after a long filming day. I was walking past the hallway when I heard them talking in Marcus's room. "I mean, come on," Tasha whispered. "She's cool and all, but it's not her doing the editing or managing the algorithm. We helped her blow up." Marcus nodded. "Yeah, if anything, she should be grateful we're making her brand relevant." My heart stopped for a second. Relevant? I wasn't a trend, I was a person. That night, something shifted again. Not like before, not with laughter or light, but something colder. I realized that for all the support they were showing in public, in private, they still didn't see me. Not really. To them, I was a hashtag, a gimmick, a quirky brand. But I wasn't here to be their viral golden ticket. No, I had more to say. I turned on the camera and spoke from the heart. "Hey everyone. Today I want to talk about something we don't post about enough, what it feels like to be underestimated, even after you've proven yourself." I didn't cry, but my voice cracked, and I left it in the edit on purpose. Because this wasn't just about fashion anymore. It was about dignity. The video went viral again, but this time the messages weren't just likes and laughing emojis. They were paragraphs, stories, testimonies. "I left my toxic job today because of your courage. I'm 63 and I finally wore red lipstick again after watching you. You remind me who I used to be." So when the day of the gala came, I wasn't nervous anymore. I wasn't trying to prove anything. Not to Marcus, not to Camille, not to the world. I just wanted to walk in like I belonged, because finally I knew that I did. The text said, "Something huge just dropped. You might want to check your DMs." I opened Instagram and froze. A well-known fashion blogger had posted a side-by-side image of me next to a major celebrity, captioned, "Guess who's wearing it better? Spoiler, the 70-year-old icon wins." Below that, another post. "Rumor, Golden Glamour just got scouted for a national campaign. Is this the next face of Forever Fierce?" And right underneath, a message from the Forever Fierce creative director. It said, "Let's talk. You're exactly what we've been looking for." And just like that, the woman they called too old to matter was about to become the face of a global brand. But fame has a funny way of testing what really matters, because the higher I climbed, the more I realized who was cheering and who was quietly waiting for me to fall. Let me tell you something no one ever says out loud. Reinvention doesn't come with a manual. And success doesn't come with instructions. One day, you're folding laundry and arguing with a toaster. The next, you're getting DMs from fashion moguls asking if you're available for a global campaign. I didn't even know what half of them meant by content pipeline or brand synergy. But I nodded and said yes. Because when the world finally opens its doors to you after decades of being invisible, you walk in like you own the place. And that's exactly what I did. I was in LA on set for the Forever Fierce photo shoot. Their new campaign was bold, diverse, unapologetic. And guess who was their star? That's right, me. I wore a crimson suit with shoulder pads sharp enough to slice an ego. My gray curls were wild and free. The theme, ageless energy. And I was on fire. The campaign broke the internet. We were on billboards in Times Square. CNN did a segment called When Age Becomes the Edge. People cried, people danced, people dusted off their dreams. But just as the world was celebrating me, my family, well, they were falling apart. Camille never called, so when I answered, my gut twisted. Hey Mom, we need to talk. I met her at her house that afternoon. No cameras, no glam, just the same walls where they once rolled their eyes at my polka dot shoes. She looked exhausted, eyes puffy. Marcus messed up, she said. He's been using your name to pitch brand deals and pocketing the money. I blinked. What? Apparently, Marcus had been reaching out to companies pretending to represent me. He'd negotiated payments, used my photos, and told them I'd do promo reels for cheap. He even faked my signature on a few contracts. My grandson, the same boy who once held my hand crossing the street, now saw me as a bank account with glitter. I didn't cry, but my soul cracked. You know what's funny? I chased visibility because I was tired of being forgotten. But in the rush to be seen, I forgot to watch what was happening behind me. Family doesn't always betray you with knives. Sometimes it's with contracts or silence. I didn't scream, I simply said why. He stammered, gave excuses. I was trying to help. You were blowing up. I just wanted to make it more organized. I looked at him, not like a grandmother, but like a woman who had rebuilt herself from ashes. You didn't want to help. You wanted a shortcut. He looked down. I was proud of you, Marcus, even after everything, but you forgot the most important lesson. I turned and walked away. You don't use people you love, you lift them. Hi everyone, today's video is different. I want to talk about what happens when the world sees your shine, and the people closest to you try to steal the glow. I didn't name names, I didn't throw anyone under the bus, but the message was clear. It wasn't about the money, it was about trust, about worth. And how sometimes, the people you try hardest to impress are the ones least ready to see you rise. The response? Overwhelming. Hundreds of thousands of messages. Strangers from every continent, mothers, retirees, creators, all telling me that I gave them the courage to reclaim themselves. One comment still stays with me. Thank you for reminding me it's not too late to start or too early to stand up for myself. My name is Gloria Jones. I am 70 years old. I was once told I was too old to matter. Now I'm here to say this. Your age is not your expiration date, it's your elevation point. The crowd roared, and in the front row, Camille, tears in her eyes, hands over her heart. And beside her, Marcus. He wasn't clapping, but he was watching. Really watching. Like he finally saw me. Life didn't go back to normal. It became something better, not louder, just truer. I forgave Marcus eventually. We talked, we healed, but I never gave back control. I'd learned too much. Now I run my business on my terms, and I show up for the world, not because I have to, but because I choose to. So if you're watching this, wondering if you've missed your moment, let me tell you something. Your moment is waiting on you to believe it still exists. Age doesn't steal your power, it refines it. And the people who once laughed at your dreams, they'll be the ones calling you for advice on how to reach theirs. If you've loved this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and comment. It's never too late below. Because this wasn't just a story. It was a reminder that your best chapter might not be behind you. It might be the next one you write. They said I was too old to matter. But the truth? I was just getting started. Because sometimes life doesn't hand you the spotlight. You have to build your own stage, wear your boldest outfit, and walk out like you've owned it all along. This isn't just my story, it's yours too. Whether you're 17 or 70, whether they call you too loud, too quiet, too much, or not enough, you are not done. You are becoming. So go ahead. Say yes to the dream you tucked away. Say yes to the mirror that still reflects fire in your soul. Say yes to you. Because if I can become a fashion icon at 70, what's stopping you? If this story lit a spark in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and drop a comment below with one word: fearless. Because together, we're not just telling stories, we're rewriting what's possible.